How well do you know yourself? Have you ever had this feeling that there's more to life than what you're experiencing right now? Or maybe you've had that feeling that it doesn't feel really authentic, your life. Maybe you sense that there must be something else. And maybe you, like me, have been trying for so many years. Maybe you built a business, maybe you built a team, maybe you built everything. You checked out the boxes on all of the things that you're supposed to do. And still you feel like something is missing. That's my journey. And maybe you can relate to this. And in this video, I'm going to share a couple of insights with you from my own journey that I hope I'm going to do my best to explain what I mean. And if you can relate to what I started with, I hope this makes sense for you. I hope this makes sense for you. It's kind of deep, this video, but it's very important. I know because I had a group of business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders. It's actually still existing, but from around the world on Facebook. And it was a group for men in midlife. I was inspired and I wrote down what became an ad, my story. Like, are you tired of check all the boxes? That was how I felt. And lots of men came in there and I asked them why, and that was exactly because they resonated with the message. So, first of all, for me, I was a leader for many years, and from 2012, that's 13 years now, because I was in a financial debt, $1.5 million US personally debt after the financial crisis in 2008. And after having a career, 20 years of career building other people's businesses, but because of the debt, I ended up becoming an entrepreneur and have been now for 13 years with all the ups and downs. I created a business of my own, 60 people in the team. I paid off the debt. I coached and did seminars for thousands of people, sharing all my learnings, but still, it was like something was missing. And this is my question for this video. And this is how do you find your true self? How do you manifest your true self? And I'm going to give you some bullets, some ideas, but I'm also going to share from free flow some things that I might think is one of the most important things that I did. So, the bullets, let me just share those with you. The first one is self-reflection. This is kind of like nearly a checklist where you can see, okay, this makes sense. I can do this. Self-reflection is about becoming aware. For me, it's about becoming aware. When I start, as an entrepreneur, maybe this is you too, or as a leader, it's hustling, it's grinding, it's the next goal, it's the next thing, it's working a lot of hours. That's how we are built, right? Solving problems. Now, but there was something missing. So what is the missing part? The missing part for me was the thing inside, was me. The me I left so many years ago because I was so busy trying to prove a lot of things, trying to check all the boxes. So becoming self-aware. At that time when I started on my personal development journey, I didn't know this was about self-awareness, but when I look back, self-aware for me was about becoming aware what's going on in my mind, becoming aware what's going on in my body, emotional. And then after that, beginning to, as I became more and more aware, beginning to become aware of my nervous system. Am I relaxed? Am I not relaxed? Aware about what's going on the inside. And maybe you know this, inside creates the outside. So if we are so busy as leaders, as entrepreneurs, impact driven from a good heart, and we keep trying doing so much, trying so much, and we still feel off. Inside. Go inside and become aware what's going on, and begin. From there we can begin to work on the inside. And these are the first things that I put in my manifestation masterclass. It's a free community. There's some trainings on these things, and the link is below. So the next thing, and these things comes together. So I just kind of like give you some bullets here because it's like they are entangled. The next thing, beginning to know true self. There's two sides of this, but this is about being curious about what do you like and what do you not like, and be very curious about this. Because let me give you a couple of examples here, and this was so outrageous for me. When I was really looking into finding myself, I started doing things that I was so afraid of doing. One of them was actually start singing. I grew up with a family who was very music, and I played a lot of different instruments, but I never really liked it. And on my journey, I found out that when I was very young, I actually sang a song in front of the whole family, and some of the people there, they laughed so much. And one of my close family members got a little embarrassed about it and kept telling me about this experience. I don't believe that was to get me down, but fact is that I was so afraid of singing. I was so afraid of speaking up because I've had that one experience, and then after so many times being told that I don't have music, I'm not creative, I can't sing. So I started singing, and as I said, this was really out of my comfort zone, but I started singing. Here's the thing. And I was curious about what's going on the inside as I did this. Because part of this is where it gets a little complicated sometimes. Part of this is out of the comfort zone. So obviously nervousness shows up. Fear shows up saying, no, Michael, don't do this. But behind that or after that, do I actually like the singing or don't I like it? And why do I like it or why do I not like it? Is it the singing teacher? Is it the place that I sing in? All of these things. Just be curious about this, because you will learn much more about yourself from being curious about doing different things. And sometimes you'll do things that you don't like. And again, it's a little complicated because some of the things might be nervousness showing up or fear showing up. For me, starting my acting career, it was a lot of fear came up. But there was something inside of me, and this is, sorry, it was not to point at you, but this is one of the things that goes a little deeper here. Something inside of me was calling for do the acting. And doors have been opening. I was curious and I was not letting myself down, and I didn't run away because of fear. So looking for the passions, that was the second one here. Looking for the passions and be curious. Something that you might have dreamt of doing. Maybe go on a hike, or maybe go in a tent, or maybe travel to some other city, or maybe approach a stranger in the street. Might even be someone, man or woman, that you think is very beautiful or you want to speak with. And something like that. And obviously fear would show up for most people. But be curious. What's your passion? And The next one here, number 3, that I wrote them down, but number 3 here is embrace solitude. Like, really embrace solitude. The thing that I learned after so many years of being so busy, of having so many people around me in my teams, was that I was never alone. I had no idea who I was. I had no idea who I was. Today, I believe I had some years, I sat so many hours on the beach just meditating. I didn't know why or what for or anything. I just did it, just in stillness. And we are so used to be busy. Entrepreneurs, leaders, we are so used to be busy. So, and this, again, these things come together. So self-reflection, like I said in the beginning, becoming aware of what's going on inside is very difficult. Very difficult to become aware what's going on inside of your mind, your body, if there's always people around you. Some people say, I can do that. It's so difficult. So really, it's a gift being alone. And even that, for some people, it's so full of fear. And I had that in the beginning because I was so used to being with a lot of people. But I also found out, one of the reasons why I didn't want to be alone, there was fear. There was fear of beginning to listening to my own thoughts and emotions and actually figuring out and finding out that I was so nervous about so many things, that I was so afraid of so many things. So I had to learn that, to really embrace that. So that's an invitation for you, really to embrace solitude, to be alone. And the next one is challenge your beliefs. This one is, again, they're all entangled, but this one is like, when you begin to become aware of your mind, of your thoughts, of your emotions, and your reactions, you begin also to become aware of your beliefs. I became aware that I had a lot of money beliefs when I started my personal journey that were not helping me. They were not supporting me in my dream life, what I wanted to do. I had beliefs around myself that I wasn't good enough. I had beliefs around myself that people laughed at me. I just shared one experience here. So I had to challenge those beliefs. I had to become aware. I had to be alone with myself and begin challenging those beliefs. I'm certainly not saying any of these things are easy, but it's quite simple. That's why I put it down in bullets here. The next one is, this was a difficult one for me too, and it sounds so simple. Actually, to practice self-care. And what I mean by that is like, and again, just to take the time out to do something good for oneself. It was so difficult because my habits was that and they still kick in sometimes, but was that I really had to be busy. I really had to struggle. I really had to solve issues all the time. And speaking about manifestation, this is the whole reason why I am doing this channel and why I'm embracing a new version of myself, and I invite you to do the same. When we speak about manifestation, I want to play with my reality, and that's what I'm doing and I'm sharing. So instead of the struggle, instead of the strategies, instead of the hard work and feeling something is missing, my journey has been now for some years to do the things that I'm sharing with you here. Go inside, become aware, but be in solitude, be alone, reflect, challenge my beliefs, these things. And then practice self-care. And why is that? Because what I found out was that when practicing self-care for me was actually to begin to be more in nature. I had walks in nature. I did some videos on the channel too. here from nature. I live close to the beach. I have some trees over on the other side here. I love being there. But it was so difficult in the beginning because my mind said, I don't have time. I don't have time. And practice self-care for me was also to begin to have a bed routine, to begin not to punish myself, but I wanted to wake up fresh in the morning, have energy for my day, and sleep good. I didn't sleep good for so many years. And I coached a lot of people. I know some entrepreneurs, they sleep very good. They say. And they say they just hit the pillow and they sleep and they wake up. I don't know about you, but I also know a lot of entrepreneurs who doesn't sleep well because they're stressed. They have a lot of fear inside of themselves and they never calm down. So for me, that was part of the self-care thing. Figuring out what's good for me. Quitting alcohol was a self-care thing for me. I had to go through some things because a lot of the people that I met with in networks and gatherings and like that, they didn't really understand why I didn't drink alcohol. But I found out, and this is self-care big time, I found out that waking up the day after, I was actually not in a good mood. I was actually not physically in a good form or shape after drinking. And if I before drank and I drank more than was good, and I woke up and I couldn't really remember it all, or was a little blurry, and maybe I even said some things or looked stupid or something, and I was that on top of the physical, and it was draining. So self-care for me is also now to listen to some good music or read a good book or meditate or breathe. Got some special breathing exercises before I go to bed, and I track my sleep. I love data, so I see if I have a couple of days without the breathing in the evening, I don't sleep as well. Calming down my nervous system, calming down my mind, calming down everything before sleeping, and then put other things into it. I wake up, the numbers tells me I'm right, and I feel good. Self-care big time. There's more things than that, but self-care, that's also doing that. You begin to figure out, who are you? What do I like? What do you like? What do you love? What's good for you? Self-care. And the next thing here becomes a little bit deeper here, because the thing for me is that I chased these things in the beginning. So if you want to figure out who are you, who is it inside of you, what's the core of you? As I said in the beginning, if something is missing, if you feel off, if you feel it's not an authentic life, maybe you have the house, maybe you have the big cars. I know what I'm speaking about. That was my life. Maybe you have the beautiful wife or man. Maybe you have the beautiful kids, dog, cat, horses. Maybe you are traveling all the time. I did too. Maybe you build a big business or you're a leader in a big business. But again, you check all the boxes, but something is off. And for me, and that's the invitation to you, maybe it's time to begin diving into the things that I'm sharing here. So the next here, I was very obsessed with figuring out, who am I? So I like I've been living my life always. I try to put down strategies and figuring it out. It came from here in the beginning, because that was my whole way of being. Now from there, later on, when I learned to release some of all of the old energies, I had experiences with people who helped me where I really, really, really connected with myself. And those experiences was probably, it's difficult to describe them, but it's probably some of the best experiences that I had in my whole life. Connecting with myself. And that was like, that's me. I'm connected with me right now. I'm one. I don't care about all of these things out there. I am together with myself. And again, coming back to some of the things that I shared here, I've becoming curious. What is this feeling? How is this to be together with me? How is it to hug myself? Self-care too. Hug myself. So, as I said in the beginning, I was trying to hustle myself to these things, but this is where it becomes a little bit more deep, because yesterday I had a really big aha moment, and the day before I did too. Because what I figured out was, or what came to me, let me say it like that, and this has very much to do with manifestation. And the things that I've shared about Neville Goddard, the books that I'm reading and I've been working with, is very much to let go of trying to solve things, to let go of trying to figure it all out. It's so, for many people, not easy, me included. But the thing is, what I found was, and this is also the invitation here, is actually to just set the intention. Like with the whole manifestation thing, set the intention, and you can just feel it or pause the video and say it, that I want to find my true self. Set the intention, and then just observe what's going on. Because, and those are the things that I've re-experienced the last couple of days, a lot of synchronicities happening. An old pattern of me trying to solve everything, but set the intention and then let it go. Like let it boil in that pot. Let it do its work. Let the universe do its work. Don't mess around with it. And just observe. Just enjoy yourself. Enjoy your life. And again, for me it was not easy. So instead of trying to figure it all out, instead of trying to be too harsh on oneself, I more and more believe, and I forget it sometimes, I more and more believe that we're here to have fun, to enjoy our life, to love, to live, to laugh, right? How's that? How does that sound? Why should we struggle all the time? Why should we hustle and grind all the time? Maybe if we really enjoy it and we really are on that path, there might be times for doing that. But again, it's, as I said a couple of times, it's a little complicated because sometimes it's just something that distracts us from those moments where we could really love and laugh. That was what I wanted to say, love and laugh. And enjoy life. And stay curious and stay open-minded was the last two things that I put down here. Stay curious and stay open-minded to what's coming, what's going on. And again, just from a curious as interesting, exciting. Those energies are very good. So that's about finding your true self. It's about manifesting your true self. And I wrote in my manifestation masterclass yesterday or the day before, it's also about coming home. It came to me, it's about coming home. So for me, what I'm playing with and what I'm inviting you to is actually to transform into the next, to let that next version show up, transform into something that's even more authentic, that can manifest things, bigger things, but in a more authentic way and maybe even easier, and just feeling like okay, this is how it's supposed to be. I hope, like I said in the beginning, I've done my best to share what's on my mind around these things, and I will share more about it. But I really hope that I did my job well here. So, and you feel free to let me know in the comments. But mostly, I would really love to understand how this resonates with you. Where are you on your journey? And lots of love.